Hello and welcome to another Beard Clipper video. If you are not yet a subscriber and you are enjoying my content, please do consider clicking that subscribe button. And if you are a subscriber and have not yet done so, don't forget to ding the bell and select all so that whenever one of my videos goes live, YouTube will tell you about it. In this brief talking video, I have a script. So if I glance down, that's why. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through corrections and advice that I received from an awesome user of a Arena of the Contest Discord that I'm a member of, a guy called Flanks06. I think he's the one that actually created the Discord, and I'll pop a invite link in the description below of this video, so if you want to join in, you can. I would recommend it if you're playing the game. It's a wonderful place, really friendly, and you get advice like I've got from that video I did last week, and I've learned so much. I'm really looking forward to going through it with you and telling you the things I made the mistake of. So let's get cracking. So the first mistake I made is when you cut corners over lava tiles, that should cause the damage. Now, I moved my own characters cutting corners over lava tiles, and I'm wondering whether this also means you can't cut corners where there's walls, which might be the case or not. I'll have to look in the actual rules. But certainly I should have been causing damage when I moved the when I caused one of the enemies to go over the corner of a lava tile. And in addition to this, this is pointed out, I did miss some of one of the better effects of the whirling strike from Jorana. I should have been moving the enemies with that whirling strike, which would have then allowed me to move them over the lava and cause the damage there. And finally, for now, in terms of multi-strike attacks like the whirling strike, when you've got a miss, you don't apply the residual damage unless you miss every single strike in that attack. So if you've got two attacks like you have with whirling strike and you hit one and miss one, you apply the hit damage to the hit target, but you do not apply residual to the missed target. Only if I miss both, in that case, do I apply those 5 points of damage. So that's an interesting one, which is quite easy to remember, and I shouldn't make that mistake again. So another mistake I made, now we're getting onto reaction attacks, where I made quite a few mistakes. So first of all, reaction attacks are incited by ranged attacks. So I believe I did a ranged attack with Jade, and I had one of the enemies was adjacent to me when I did that ranged attack, and therefore that should have triggered the reaction attack from the enemy onto Jade before I do my ranged attack, and that's very important. And I will pop up now a image of the order in which turns go, and you'll be able to see if you pause this video in a minute when this picture comes up, because I won't leave it up for long, then you'll be able to read through the order in which everything goes, and you can see that reaction attacks are incited before anything happens on the original attack. So there we are, that's the order in which everything works. So a couple of times I forgot about the effects of the evil power cards, which I did pick up actually while I was playing. One of the major ones was about the villains being hastened, which means that they don't then incite the reaction attack. And as out of that, what Flanks says is that most of the time, with the basic strategy that the villains are following, they will attack the closest model to them, and therefore they will almost certainly never trigger a reaction attack. And if their strategy tells them to attack someone who is not necessarily the nearest, they are almost always, or they are always hastened, and therefore they just won't trigger that reaction attack. So that's an interesting one. And the final thing around that as well is when I was moving the enemies using another ability and then making that trigger the reaction attack, yeah, that was plain up cheating. Reaction attacks only occur on the move of the on the character's own turn. Sorry, is the way to put it, on the character's own turn. So if you're moved against your will by someone else's benefit, you are not going to be causing a reaction attack. So that was just blatantly cheating. I think I should remember most of that stuff from now on, and I hope that that's clearly explained and that makes a lot of sense to you. So the next thing to talk about is passive powers. Now, I forgot them completely in my game, and I've never really understood them. It's one of the things that's really confused me, and one of the reasons why it confused me is they just didn't seem very good. I thought that passive powers were a one-shot only per game. That's how it read to me. The first enemy you hit is what it says. But what it means is it's the first enemy you hit every round, which is pretty powerful and probably would have made a huge difference in my game. Though, of course, all the other cheating I did that helped me probably would have counterbalanced it and I still would have lost, but whatever. So, as an example, Ellery, the telepath, every time she hits on the first target that she hits in the round, she does 4 damage to a different enemy within 5 squares of her, which is pretty cool. So I need to remember about my passive powers. I need to read them. I need to have them front and centre of my attention when I'm playing the game, and I think that they will add a lot. It's good fun. I mean, I'm a bit gutted. The next thing is even worse. Remember how sad I was about Zanak? Well, it turns out that there were 2 concepts I missed when Zanak died. The first one is a thing called flasks. Now, when a character dies, you should leave the health tracker token at the position at which that character died. So put it on the map, on the square that the character died. And then another character can go spend 1 movement point and will pick up a flask, which is you basically draw from the flask deck. And then they have their own benefits or whatever. So I didn't know about that at all, so that's something new. However, first aid, I did know about, but I never bothered to read it, and if I had, then I might have made use of it, because what first aid does is it uses the special token. So if you've done a special attack that round, you can't do it. So it uses a special token and also a prime action, so you wouldn't be able to attack with that character again. But it means that you can take 10 of your own health points, give it to the dead hero, and the dead hero then comes back to life. So I could have brought Zanak back. I'm gutted. I could have saved him. I'm really gutted. But anyway, that's it. That's that. So, but there's more. This is nearly done, I promise. But there is more. Heroic actions. This is something that I missed completely. And Phalanx actually was really clear and really helpful in explaining this. So let me get this right. So heroic actions are cards, and you can pick 2. So they're not random. You can select the 2 that you want. They are single use per game. So use them wisely. However, they are pretty cool. So there's one that he explained to me which would have been quite useful for Lava Citadel, which is called Heroic Ambush. Now what that means you can do, what that allows you to do, is it allows you to teleport to any position on the table and cause 20 damage without having to roll a dice to the enemy that is there. However, wrinkles are coming. Because the teleporting is a benefit of the attack, you do that, remember that little graphic that I showed you before, you do the benefits before you resolve any damage. And so you could do the benefits without there being anything to attack. So for example, I could have teleported over to near the orb, even though there's no enemies near it, done no damage to anything because there's nothing for me to damage for 20 points. But then the next turn I'm right next to the orb and I can use my prime action and I can disable the orb. Now the thing is, like I say, because the heroic actions are single shot per game, that character would then be stuck there and would not be able to get back until the doors are opened. It's an interesting wrinkle, it's an interesting thought as to whether I would do that or not. I don't know whether it would have worked out. But yeah, and there are some other things that you could do with different characters that will allow you to move through walls that can get you to that orb, which means that you're not taking that damage on a turn-by-turn basis. So that's pretty cool, and it means you pay a bit more attention to those benefits on the character cards, because you can do them, as I say, not necessarily with there being a character to attack. Only the benefits. The other stuff, so for example, Jade's health giving, that is not a benefit. So you have to attack. So I was right there, you have to attack an enemy for you to be able to do that. So, mistakes. Bonus damage on Thunderous Charge, that is only applicable if you move 4 squares in a straight line. So my little kind of like serpentine cleverness, that was clear cheating, so whatever. And also Cordal, as badass as he was already, he had more badassery he could have done. So he can move 4 squares after he's killed one hero to attack another one. Yeah, he's badass, never mind. So I'm going to close off with some advice, which isn't necessarily me getting stuff wrong, but it's just a better way of doing it. So it was quite late in the game when I worked out that there was a permanent effect which Jordana could do, which would mean that she could attack again at the end of every turn. Now, if I'd have done that right up front on my first round, then that would have been really powerful throughout the game, and that makes a lot of sense. So have a look through your special attacks, and if there are any that give you a permanent benefit or give you something permanent, get them out of the way really early. Don't save them up. They're useful. They can help you to get through the chaff before you get to that final boss fight. So there we are. I think that's just hit about 10 minutes of me talking, which is about what I was hoping this would be. And I do hope that that's been useful, and I hope that this kind of summary and review of mistakes I make, hopefully it will be getting shorter and shorter for each of the videos. But what has happened is, by talking to Flanks and getting all of this advice, it's made me really excited to get back to the table and play Arena again and get it right, and use these more advanced techniques and the more advanced skills and the heroic actions, etc., and also just don't make the mistakes I've been making. So I probably won't be doing it very soon, because I'm unfortunately having to go away for business, and while I will be partaking some games, Arena was way too big to fit in my suitcase. But as soon as I can, I'm going to be getting back onto the tabletop and getting another game, and I will film it for you, and I will share that as well, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. Do you play Arena? Are these useful tips? Do you want me to continue doing these sort of things whenever I'm doing a game if I realise I made mistakes? Please let me know in the comments below, and just if you have anything to say, jump in those comments. I love reading them and I always reply. So thank you so much for watching this video. I've enjoyed the whole process, from playing the game to receiving the feedback to making this for you, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching it. I will sign off by saying, please stay safe, stay healthy and stay well, and thank you so much for watching.